I think you've spoken with clarity on the issue. Just the last set of questions, Dr. Tyagarajan, I would like to ask you, because this is something that people are watching particularly towards Tamil Nadu for, on the issue of online gamings. The Madras High Court that struck down a previous legislation banning the online games with stakes. You've had Justice Chandru committee report given into the government. What is the government's thinking moving on? Are you in for a complete ban, or do you want to see a distinction between, between merits when it comes to online gaming?
Yeah, it's an incredibly complex issue. So, let me start with 2 or 3 things. The first thing is that the regulation around gambling and betting, whether it's online gaming, whether it's casinos, whether it's horse racing, whether it's lotteries, is a state subject. And already you see great variations between states. For example, lotteries are banned in Tamil Nadu. The government of West Bengal not only allows lotteries, but makes 4,000 or 5,000 crores a year of revenue from their share of the lottery proceeds. So it is a state subject. It's a lot easier to handle when it is something as well-defined physical location-wise as a race course or a casino. I would say casino is easiest of all to define because it's hard to replicate an underground or black casino. It's race course is slightly harder because if the race is telecast, then you can do off-track betting and stuff like that. By the time you come to lottery, of course, there's some leakage, but if it's banned, it's hard to run at least organized selling of lottery tickets. When it comes to online gaming, we're in a whole different ballgame, right? Because the servers could be anywhere. The access could be anywhere. It could be through VPNs that mask your identity. It could be through payment of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency that is not registered anywhere in the system. So regulating online gaming is a very complex thing. The High Court's ban, or the High Court strike down of the legislation banning was a technical strike down because it had not gone through certain steps and it was considered without application of mind or full consideration of the House. If we wanted to, those are easily correctable points that the High Court made. And I think if we wanted to, we could legislate in a way that it would stand the scrutiny of the court. But that's a decision the Chief Minister and the Cabinet will make. I don't want to say too much about it. I know that.
But should there be a distinction,
sir? Report, and we had the discussion.
Sir, but should there be a distinction between skills and chances?
Taken up with the GST Council about how these things should be taxed, and that is with the group of ministers. The group of ministers of which I'm a part already submitted one report, and based on some input from some ministers at the whole council, we brought it back for a second look. And the chairwoman, the Honorable Union Finance Minister, has asked us to come back in a very short time with a second look. So that's something that the subcommittee will be taking up again in short order.
So just the final follow-up question. Do you think that there should be a distinction between skills and chances? And is it time maybe for a national level law on online gaming betting?
I'm not sure national makes it much better, right? Because what I'm trying to say is that you can subvert it in the world of the internet. You can subvert even the national. I mean, it's easy to subvert the state, but you can even subvert the national quite easily. It's not that complicated. What is more important, I think, is what are the steps you're willing to do for example, in the GOM. I can tell you for sure, as a member of the GOM, though we had representations from all kinds of people, it was very clear that nobody in government is capable of making the distinction of what is a game of skill and what is a game of chance, at least for the most part. Maybe there are extreme examples. But we simply didn't want to get into this at all. We said, who are we to decide whether something is the skill or chance? In every game, by the very nature of the word game or the word betting, there has to be some component of uncertainty. Now, whether that uncertainty can be 100% deterministically resolved through data, IQ, computing and all that is obviously the answer is no. There's got to be some element of chance in almost everything. Even if you're betting on professional sports, for example, you may think you're very good at assessing the outcome based on the previous performance of players, etc., etc. But that's what you think. At the end of the day, field conditions or the weather or somebody doesn't start, anything can change any outcome.
Okay.
So one thing the group of ministers was very clear about was that we didn't want to get into being the arbiters of what is skill and what is chance. My best guess is that most ministers and most council members will feel the same way, at least from a taxation perspective. From a regulation perspective, I'm not sure that there should be union regulation on state subjects, and I'm not sure that having a national policy on online gaming changes or reduces the risk of black or grey markets.
Okay, Dr. Tyagarajan, you've been very patient in answering all my questions. Just a final question as I conclude, and maybe if you could answer in Tamil itself, given that, you know, India Ahead is watched across the southern states, in particular in Tamil Nadu, on the issue of the suicide cases that continue because of NEET. Any message to the students, you know, the way forward that you would like to end this conversation with?
எல்லா வாழ்க்கையுடைய எல்லா எதிர்கால விளைவுகளையும் ஒரே தேர்வில், ஒரே நாளில், ஒரே நேரத்தில் தீர்மானிக்கிறது என்றது எல்லா வகையிலும் தவறான ஒரு நோக்கம். அது வந்து உலகத்தில் வேற எங்கேயுமே இந்த மாதிரி பண்றதில்லை. ஏன்னா எம்ஐடி, ஹார்வர்டோ, ஆக்ஸ்போர்டோ போனால் கூட தேர்வு இருக்கோ இல்லையோ, தேர்வு இருந்தாலும் தேர்வுடன் பள்ளியில் வாங்கின மதிப்பெண், அது இல்லாமல் பள்ளிக்கு வெளியே செய்த எக்ஸ்ட்ரா கரிக்குலர் ஆக்டிவிட்டீஸ், அது இல்லாமல் வேற ஏதாவது கட்டுரை, இதெல்லாம் வைத்து தான் ஒரு விண்ணப்பத்தை ஆய்வு செய்வார்கள், இடத்தை முடிவு செய்வார்கள். ஆனால் இந்த மாதிரி ஒரே தேர்வில் முழு வாழ்க்கையை தீர்மானிக்கிறது மிகவும் தவறான ஒரு நோக்கம். அதற்காக தான் தமிழ்நாடு பப்ளிக் சர்வீஸ் கமிஷன்லையும் இந்தியன் யூனியன் பப்ளிக் சர்வீஸ் கமிஷன் ஐஏஎஸ் ஆஃபீஸருக்கும் தேர்வுக்கு ஒரு அளவு மதிப்பெண்ணும் நேர்காணலுக்கு ஒரு மதிப்பெண்ணும் வைத்திருக்கிறார்கள். அதனால் இளைஞர்கள் சிந்திக்க வேண்டியது, இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு தவறான நோக்கத்துடன் தவறான வகையில் ஏற்படுத்தப்பட்ட ஒரு தேர்வை வாழ்க்கை முழுவதும் தீர்மானிக்கும் வகையில் மனநிலையை கொண்டு போய் அதற்கு அச்சப்பட்டு ஒரு தவறான முடிவெடுப்பது குடும்பத்துக்கும் சமுதாயத்துக்கும் உங்களுக்கும் மிகவும் வேதனை அளிக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு நிகழ்வாக இருக்கும். அதனால் மாணவர்கள் யோசிக்க வேண்டியது, வாழ்க்கையில் எத்தனையோ வகையில் முன்னேறலாம். எந்த ஒரு தேர்வும் ஒரு மனிதருடைய முழு அடையாளத்தை, முழு மதிப்பை தீர்மானிக்க முடியாது. அது தயவு செய்து நீங்க கருத வேண்டாம்.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Tyagarajan, for that appeal to students, young students who have been, of course, dying of suicide, which is very, very unfortunate. But thank you also for your patience in joining us in this conversation. We hope to have you back soon. I know you have an extremely packed schedule, but we hope to have you back on the channel soon and talking on more burning issues as well. That's all that we have time for. Thank you so much.